I should turn that on.
Yeah.
Okay. Good information.
Yeah, I call it the B10 bomber. Yeah, so you can use it a few different ways. That's the way I've been using it.
Could that stop someone who's already been foreclosed on and is being threatened
Yeah, you
with
can always go back because there's no statute of limitations on fraud, and you've been frauded.
Right. So it can stop an eviction.
Right. And if you look at this form, it's almost like a.
News One, Roger, you have your speakers on, so it's feeding back.
Oh, who, me?
No, that you're feeding back because it's coming on through somebody else's speakers.
Oh. And you got to look at the B10 form another way. It's actually a 1099-A form. A corporation can't fill out the 1099-A under acquisition. They only can fill it under abandonment once you abandon the funds.
Okay, so you're saying that they serve the same function.
They kind of do the same thing, yes.
Okay.
This is official form. B10 isn't. It's just, it's tax filing. This in here is, telling them, the state, that they did loan you the money under penalty of perjury. But if you look at this document, only a real man can fill this out, because I don't care if you're an agent, what corporation you're in, you're a dead entity. So nobody anywhere in any corporation can fill out this form properly, because you have to be a real man to sign it. Because all the funds come from a real man, not from a fiction.
So that's partially why in a bankruptcy the banks never file the B10?
No, the attorneys keep this away from you. They don't want you to know this. I sat with an attorney about a year and a half ago. And, first I didn't know it was an attorney. Some lady told me that she's a friend of a judge. I said, you're a friend of a judge? But anyway, make a long story short, he wasn't a judge. He works in the bankruptcy court as an assistant to the judge. But anyway, I brought this paperwork into him. We were supposed to meet for an hour. I didn't even sit down for 5 minutes. I moved up to B10 form and a couple other forms, and I get into mortgages. He looked at his watch. He says, yep, I got to go, and he left.
Okay. Well, so what I've done in my bankruptcy, I'm really inexperienced at this stuff, but when the banks never responded, I filed a B10 in their name, which you can do after 30 days, and said, I don't owe anything. Nothing is owed.
Well, you got to sign a B10 that you loan them the money.
Right. I didn't know that. I just signed the bankruptcy by doing the other thing.
That's why I told them, if you're not going to inhonorably, it's a moral fraud. If you don't pay this lady back for the 5-6 years she made a mortgage payment, she was forced into involuntary servitude. So I said, if you don't respond or pay this lady back, then I'm just going to notify the Treasury and the IRS on a 1099-A form that they loaned you this money. And then I sent it the B10 form, basically saying, you want me to go away, fill out this form, and I'll leave you alone. And, I know they can't fill it out.
Have they ever paid the money back?
No, they ain't going to pay you back. They're going to fight me tooth and nail, but it doesn't matter.
Okay.
So this form, I can use it another way. And plus, I notified the IRS.
3949A?
And I did some other research on it. I didn't think you needed no ID anymore because the OIDs have changed a couple of years ago. So I haven't heard from the IRS when I did this about 4 months ago.
Patrick says stay away from the 1099. Now, partially of that is that only banks are allowed to file that, right?
Well, it doesn't say anywhere on the forms. If you read the instructions, there's nowhere in them instructions says that an agent of the IRS has to fill it out.
You're right. The agent of the IRS has to fill it out?
Well, an agent or a broker or a CFO. It doesn't say any special person can fill them out. Anybody can fill them out.
Okay.
And not only that, the trustees are supposed to fill them out for you under public policy, but they're all in breach of their contract because they don't know what's going on. So you have no choice other to fill it up because your trustee's not. And then the trustee that's supposed to fill these out, if they do, would be the U.S. trustee, and they're located at the bankruptcy office. At the bankruptcy court. I went to the federal court looking for the U.S. trustee, and they go, "There's no trustees in here." So I was looking online, find out where the U.S. trustee is in my state, and they're all at one building, and that's at the federal courthouse. I mean, the bankruptcy court. That's where the trustees are. In this state, I don't know about your state.
You're in New Hampshire, right?
Yeah. But anyway,
that's normally where they're all located, either in the federal courthouse or basically, like here in the state of Iowa, some of them are located over in the federal building.
Right.
Okay,
Yeah.
That's where the Secret Service is at, and that's where the IRS is at. It's over in the federal building. But they're all tied together in actuality.
Okay. You're not showing up here, Patrick.
Huh?
You're not showing up on the board here. That's interesting. Not that it makes any difference, but that's what it is right now.
I'm in incognito.
Yes, okay. It's a new name for you. Okay.
Yeah, anyway,
okay.
So this is powerful. Oh, go ahead.
So basically what we have is all about insurance, okay? Marine or slash maritime or slash marine insurance. And it was all really initiated under the War Risk Insurance Act of 1919 by Woodrow Wilson. Put it into place. And I had this out there in the group site before around January 11th of last year. And I knew it was all about insurance here, but we never knew where the place to go for the insurance settlement. I tried to go to the state insurance division, to go to maritime insurance place, to the Department of out in D.C., numerous places about insurance. Well, the insurance is at the bankruptcy court. They are the insurance adjusters. When you really sit down and think about it, and if you've ever gone through a bankruptcy, you would see, hey, what are they doing? They're basically adjusting the insurance of the damn claim. Just like if you have a house fire or something like that, damage to your house, basically you get an insurance adjuster to come out to you.
Yeah, then they do a set-off, and they don't tell you about it.
Yeah. And they'll try and get you out of having them make the settlement, okay? Then you've got to pay out of your back pocket, when they're supposed to be paying for everything to replace that house back to its original condition. Same thing out here. Basically, they have our cargo under this maritime or marine insurance. So any claim that comes in against that, whether it be taxes, you name it, traffic tickets, basically they're all under this insurance, that it has to go through bankruptcy because it's got to go into that insurance adjuster. Those people are not really judges, okay? They can't be a judge because a woman cannot be a judge.
They're administrators over a bankruptcy. That's it.
Yeah, they're administrators over the insurance policies for the United States, for the state, for the church. They all have insurance policies on our cargo. Then they can turn around and write the bonds by way of the insurance. Because insurance is a bonding instrument. They take our collateral or our cargo as the collateral. Then they have the support to write their bonds for their insurance. All the bar attorneys basically are acting as insurance adjusters, agents, whatever. We have to come in, and we are, when we came of age, we were supposed to be the master trustee over our, basically we'll call them leased, foreign vessels, foreign commercial vessels, and bring them into our Admiralty home port. Then we terminate their voyage, offload the cargo and the personnel, the persons, and then we torch the sucker. We liquidate it, so that that vessel can no longer operate in the world of commerce. But we go into the bankruptcy court to do this because they are basically also the prize court when you have seized your vessels. The Office of Maritime Vessel Master, as you are the sole master trustee. You get rid of all those U.S. trustees out there. They're out there to basically try and sink you, to scalp you, to whale you, okay? They're whaling you, stripping your blubber away. That's how sick these people are. Just like when they kill a real whale, I mean, the whale don't die. It may take a week before that damn whale dies, the way they used to whale out there with the old wooden boats and everything. They just strip away at the whale and process so much of the blubber down. Then they cut another strip off. Then finally, when they had their coffers full, they'd let go of the whale. And basically, he would basically suffer this whole damn time. And then the other fish would basically eat him up. That's one of the most inhumane actions out here. But they're doing the same damn thing to us. They're whaling the man in their commercial maritime system. They're slowly eating away at us. Several guys have gone into bankruptcy. We've stood there and we've complained about a bunch of things, but we never really came in and said, we are the master trustee. All other U.S. trustees are to be walk the plank, get them the hell out of here. We're in charge. And see, when you're in charge as the trustee, you don't have to file bankruptcy forms. You're coming in and basically putting your claim in, just like the insurance company. You say, hey, my house got destroyed. Get your ass out here. I've got the policy in hand. We've got our pond vessel document in hand. We will turn around and do a manifest for our maritime pond vessels. In this process, you've got your certificate of live birth. That's one. You got your Social Security vessel. You've got your driver's license vessel. You've got your certificate of title vessel. You've got your voter's registration vessel. You've got your marriage certificate vessel. You've got, if you have baptism, you've got a baptismal certificate vessel. If you had military, you've got a military vessel.
You got a whole fleet.
Yeah, you've got a fleet, and you're the admiral of that fleet. And then you're operating in admiralty when you bring them home, because you're going to home port those suckers in admiralty. So that's what, and basically this goes right along with the movie Network. You've got to get mad. When you show your dandruff, then basically people will take notice of you. But you just show them that you are mad. I'm not going to take this anymore. I had Tom post up yesterday a document as a claim check or as a checkmate. But it was going in with my DD 214, but it has to go into the bankruptcy court. Also, as a check, I had a routing number and an account number on there. The routing number would be your Social Security number. The account number, if you modify this, would either be your selective service or your certificate of live birth number. You take all your IRS taxes. You send them into the bankruptcy court. You're going in there, and those taxes are to be set off against the insurance policy. That is over that vessel. That's what that insurance policy is there for. It's to protect the vessel or the cargo while it is at sea in commerce. Now, when you get done and bring your stuff into port, let me see, what did I say about this? All commercial liens are to be presented to the U.S. District Bankruptcy Maritime Court as the insurer's adjuster to determine their validity for a charge-off against the insurance policies. They can't put commercial liens on us. The commercial liens have to go against the insurance policy. So they try and put it against our cargo, but really the insurance, maritime / marine insurance policies, war insurance policies, are to be basically the ones to set the thing off. Until we bring our ships into port, okay, home port them in Admiralty, these marine or maritime marine insurance bondage policies have control over that cargo. But once the voyage is terminated, they are no longer needed. And they have to be liquidated. And then we take our cargo off. They no longer have any cargo or collateral to support their bonds. So they have to be terminated and liquidated, those policies. But it's all about insurance. And it was trying to find this damn insurance adjuster that we needed to go to. This holds true for all of the receipts you have. Even your checks in your checking account. You take all those checks. You've already got check. Well, all you have to do is do a checkmate. Then you won the game. You take those checks and you put them as a charge, a creditor's charge against the bank, who is the debtor, using a B10 form, and submit that into the bankruptcy court. You could turn around and put a checkmate along with it to draw that much cargo off your vessel. Then, basically, down the road, they will settle up, putting the assets that need to be placed into the vessel from your creditor's B10 form. Same thing with all receipts. You put a check mark on the receipt. You sign it. Don't accept it for value or anything like that. Just put a check mark. Now it's checked. Just like in the game of chess. The first notice is check. To win the game, it's checkmate. They can no longer move. You just block them in. And basically, if you really want to take a little more understanding about whaling, just go and watch the movie, The Merchant of Venice. What were they trying to do? They were trying to take a pound of flesh. That's whaling. Stripping the fat off of a person, a mammal. A whale is a mammal on the sea. And we, the man, are the whale on the sea of commercial commerce. Anybody that has a court case, you take it out of, and don't go into equity. You do not do equity. You do admiralty. And then you move it into this bankruptcy court. You send their charges up to them. Those charges have to go against the insurance policy. That's what I tried to tell them in the court when I had my traffic tickets. I said, hey, these are supposed to be set off against the insurance policy that is being attached to that driver's license. They knew I knew something, but I didn't know where to send it to. I needed to send it to the bankruptcy court. That's the cashier that you can go and get the money from. The local county cashier, clerk of the courts, no. You go to the main one, okay? To the district clerk of the court in bankruptcy or insurance, maritime insurance adjuster. The CY is basically putting the insurance onto the bankrupt. That's the insurance policy. Because your pawnee and your fictional corporate sole person is the pawnee. We, as the living man of the land out here, we're the pawnor. And then that certificate we have is the pawn instrument between him and us. We don't see the insurance policy. That is done by the vessel owner master, or the vessel owner, what do I call him? Foreign vessel owners, okay? And that's what they are. They're all foreign vessel owners. Even the state of Iowa is a foreign vessel owner. And they're the ones that have the insurance policies against the cargo that's on that commercial vessel. But we never get a copy of that because that's between our pawnee and them. That is also classified as, let me see where now I got that. Fraudulent concealment and collusion by the insurers and all bar parties involved.
Hmm.
And there is no, in the laws of fraud, there is no statute of limitation. So basically you can turn around and file a claim against any bank or anything that basically has taken a property away from you under fraud. Because basically your insurance policy was to pay for that damn thing. Then that bankruptcy court has to go after them. The U.S. Marshals work for the bankruptcy court more than they do for the other side of the aisle, the federal district court.
Hmm.
There's more corruption going on over here in insurance fraud than there is in regular crimes out here. So I'm working on the letter basically to and the manifest to try and write it up. And I separated it out from the fax cover sheet so that it really doesn't have all that much on the fax cover sheet. It's sort of hidden away. And then being addressed to the bankruptcy judge. And we come in and put them on the spot now. That if they do not comply, we will file an admiralty lien and criminal insurance fraud charges against them.
Yeah, even on the form it states here that there's a thing there we have a right to set off, whether it's real estate, motor vehicle, or other. You're going to describe. So you can set off any liabilities on it, any claim you can set off here.
On that B10 form.
Huh?
On the B10 form, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, be careful when you read through that, okay? And see, in most cases, from what I can see, the receipts are all going to be unsecured. You need to try and get their EIN number from them, and then you're only putting down their last 4 digits of that EIN number. But if you have the receipts, and most of them have the store number and everything else on there, even their cash register machine, on those receipts.
And the date, yep.
So they've got more than enough information to go and track these people down. And see, they will be the ones to fill out the 1099 A, B's, and C's against them. We, standing in admiralty, do not need to do those. All we have to do is put our claim, our creditor's claim in, to the insurance company, to the bankruptcy court.
Or in a mortgage case, you'd still be the mortgagee, right?
Yeah. Now, we put up the collateral, okay? We gave them the collateral, access to our collateral for that. Mm-hmm. So they're the debtor to us to make the settlement for that action.
Right, the debtors in possession, they call it.
Yeah. See, everybody thought that we were the debtor in all this stuff, and it just never really, even though I went into bankruptcy, it just never really sat right with me. And that was back in 2005. Something was wrong, and I just couldn't put my finger on it. But talking it over with about 4 other people, that basically we've gone into the bankruptcy court, and here recently, I mean, in the last couple of years, and basically we got tidbits from that bankruptcy court. Even one of the guys got a letter back from the United States Court of Claims saying, hey, you're still out at sea. Mm-hmm. That's because he hadn't brought his vessels into home port yet. And we have to do that at this bankruptcy court and say, hey, we are now the master trustee. All other trustees are hereby fired. They're to walk the plank. Get the hell out of here. We have control now. And then we claim all of our heritable rights, which were supposed to be our inheritance. But they're not inherited yet because we haven't claimed them. So we turn the heritable rights and the heritable assets into our inheritance when we come in and claim them as the master trustee. And this is all under the wars, the act of war, okay?
Title 50. The War Powers Act. Yeah.
Yeah. And these vessels are now war prizes to us because we have taken them in. So now it falls under international prize laws, which is the prize of the seas. And that War Risk Insurance Act was 1919.
Mm.
And I had that posted up there once before, I know. Well, I think I was still on the computer at the time. But if not, it's in volume 41. If you go into War Risk Insurance Act in volume 41 of the statutes at large. And the funny thing, Section 2, okay, subparagraph B, a child legally adopted. D, an illegitimate child. What the shit they talking about this in a war risk insurance deal? Now you can see how some of this stuff really starts to make sense. Of all the stuff that I've been talking about creating the bastard child, and basically we're in a maritime or a military wedding with the state when we created our corporate sole bastard person to become the bankrupt, the pawnee of our cargoes. But now he is in a post-orbit condition.
Patrick?
Yeah.
You've got the War Risk Insurance Act PDF in the You Are American Curator directory.
Okay. I knew it was out there somewhere. Should have been.
Right.
Hey, Patrick, does that mean, like, it's post-obit after we claim to be the pawnor, right?
We are the pawnor no matter what, okay?
Yeah.
It's just that our pawnees, okay, our corporate sole persons are dead.
Right.
They're in post-orbit, obit,
Okay.
obituary.
Right.
Okay? We're putting the post-obituary out against them. Stating that they're dead. They can no longer serve on that vessel. So if you have no crew to man your vessel, basically the vessel has to be ported.
Right.
Yeah, when you start getting into a little more in the sea terms and everything, then you'll start seeing. I mean, yeah, even on board the submarine, if we didn't have the right complement of people to take that boat out to sea. We didn't go to sea.
Yeah, I have an example, an illustration I just noticed yesterday. I was watching a video about the SR-71, and they got a navigator in the back, and he has control of the aircraft. If the pilot puts it in autopilot, he can position or say go home or whatever, and the plane will fly itself home. But if he dies back there, the pilot up front has to fly it home manually. He has no way of touching the making any inputs into the computer.
Right.
So, he still is like, he can't really, he has to navigate it home by the stars or whatever.
Yeah, see, that's what you have to do. You have to manually bring this thing home.
No autopilot.
Yeah. Yeah, you're taking control, and basically you're saying, I'm home porting this now. It's now being beached, or whatever you want to say. But that's all there is to it.
Right.
I mean, this whole thing. We should have saw this before, but we didn't, okay? There was so damn much convolution about it and misusage of terms and everything else in the process, hiding everything away from us in the process. Not coming forward and saying, hey, you're the pawnee and pawnor, and that this is a pawned item. I mean, basically, if those terms would have been used, it would have been more easily seen from the get-go. But no, they use creditor and debtor and bankrupt and bankruptcy all as hidden terms to hide their damn stuff away from us. And then they have all these licensed insurance agents, bar attorneys out here that are siphoning off our stuff. And basically, when we went through the bankruptcy module, training modules or modules there in Washington, D.C., bankruptcy court, we knew that the attorneys and everything were putting all these false claims in against our cargo or against the insurance policy. So we didn't tie the insurance to the bankruptcy, to the vessel, the way we should have.
So you're saying they're making false claims against the cargo, which is our estate, or and our collateral, and
well, they're
the insurance.
putting against the insurance policy. Okay, that's where they're going. Okay, that's the only place they can put the claim in, is against the insurance policy.
So
and then where in insurance, okay, the insurance company tries to claim that is a benefit. You are not the beneficiary of that insurance policy. That insurance policy is for the benefit of the vessel owner. They're the ones that are making out like rape dates off that insurance policy. And then they try and claim you're getting a benefit from that insurance policy. No, when you close down and you get an insurance payment, there is no taxes on insurance, is there? In an insurance settlement in court. As far as I know, there is no taxes If somebody knows different, speak up.
Never had this situation.
No, I know, but it's been in the movies or something. I mean, addressed out here.
Oh, yeah.
In different places.
Yeah. So in addition to misdefining the terms, they reverse the roles to screw it up even more.
Yeah. Now the real pisser is it find all this stuff out, and lo and behold, tomorrow's another goddamn holiday, commercial holiday. Supposedly commercial holiday, but they're still operating in commercial commerce because they operate 365 days a year in commercial commerce. That really is what it is. It's a banking holiday. To keep us from basically accessing our funds. So it's another day for their benefit, not for ours.
I was just thinking of something. I was trying to connect the dots. The Holy Roman Church, or Vatican, calls it the Holy See, and then they also, a long time ago, they had canon law, which is became mercantile law, and that became like the Uniform Commercial Code, or it transversed that way. So that whole church is just like kind of at the helm of all the commerce in a way. They call it the Holy See, right?
They are a maritime system. Where are they? They're in Rome.
Right.
Okay? What was the seat of all the stuff? Venice and Genoa or whatever,
yep,
were operating as the sea merchants. And then it was all taken control over by the Church of Rome, okay, which is not really a church, but basically a merchant law under the laws of merchants. That's really what all this stuff's all about. It's the laws of merchants.
Right.
Which goes back to Rhodes, which goes back even further than that to Babylon and to the very first Babylon. And they've all operated under this same scenario out here to basically, even the Egyptians were doing the same thing to the people. They were whaling the people.
In that movie, The Merchant of Venice, which I did really enjoy, I watched the whole thing. It was a very good movie. They had a panel of judges, and they were all dressed like they were cardinals or bishops of the Catholic Church. I mean, they dressed them.
Well, that was the Duke of Venice. Okay? Mm-hmm. And see, that's really where the prince would be sitting, where you would be sitting. And see, they were the puppet masters over that court.
Right.
They weren't the court, but they were the puppet masters. And see, that's when you come in as the master trustee. You are now the puppet master over this whole scenario, standing over that insurance judge, adjuster, to order up the settlement.
And that's with the role that the woman, the guy, Bassiano's wife, who was dressed up as a scholar or a doctor with wisdom beyond his age.
She was basically the judge,
yeah.
The adjuster.
Right.
The adjuster of the law. See, they're not judging the law. They can only make adjustments in the law, and basically this is insurance law.
Yeah, that part was played very well. I mean, that was the key to the whole movie.
Yeah, well, that version basically outdid the other versions that I watched, the older two versions. There was one made back in the 30s and then one in the 50s, I think. And they really did an outstanding job on this one. But, I mean, a lot of other things. The Pirates of the Caribbean. All the different nautical terms and usages that took place in that movie. Captain Jack Sparrow lost his command of the Black Pearl. Okay? And basically, what is this insurance about? It's a pearl insurance. Pearls of the sea. Hazards of the sea is what a pearl is. And then the person that took over the boat was the second mate, which in our case is the state in a lot of cases, and they've taken our rights away from us and turned around and trying to say, hey, we're going to give you privileges in return. Total bullshit. I want my rights back.
Did you relate black pearl to peril, or did you pearl is a word that I'm not totally familiar with?
Well, look up the word pearl.
Yeah, I will.
I think I had it on the last set of definitions I sent to Tom. I know it was in one of them there.
Okay.
I don't remember seeing it.
I printed it out. I have it right here if I have it.
No, I thought I had it in there.
Because I'm working on the last set now.
Now, that pearl is a hazard.
That's not there.
Yeah, it started off as a grain of sand, which was an intruder or a hazard.
Well, that is for an oyster, okay?
Yeah.
But there's other definitions for the word out there, and that's what most people never look at, the other definitions.
Right. Yeah, you're putting some fun back into it with this word, search, and go back to school and learn all the stuff we never learned. That is kind of, it's settling to learn the real thing, It satisfies you.
Yeah, and then like I said, it's all about a game of chess, and that's the oldest game in the world, chess. And it's all about pawns, and pawns are pledges. That's how the game initially got started, was by pledges to the king, the queen, the knights, and everybody else. You always put the ones that pledged their services to you out in front. So they made it a game to try and protect them. And see, when you first put the other side, and see, you are on one side of the game, and the vessel master or the vessel owner is on the other side, holding your bankrupt pawnee. And you just captured your pawnee away from him. You also captured the vessel, because they may be the owner, but they're not out at sea with that vessel.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you offload the cargo, and basically you burn the vessel and say, okay, there's your vessel. If you want the whole number, go get it. It just sank.
And this same game's being played worldwide, and that's what all these wars and everything are about, all this hegemony.
Yes. Basically, this thing is out there throughout the world. Some people know how to play it. Some don't. And here in this country, very few people know how to play the game the right way. See, we're supposed to be the insured in this country, but yet we're the ones that are getting whaled constantly because we didn't know that we had this other insurance policy out here that was supposed to be making all the settlements in the commercial world for us. And then they turn around and try and claim it as a benefit, using the IRS to go back as an insurance collector to try and collect the insurance from us. Just like I had about 2 months ago, call up from the Social Security Administration. I said I wanted to terminate and that whole Social Security account. Well, they said, well, you're going to have to pay back about $3,000 or $4,500, whatever the hell it was, back before we can terminate. I said, that's bullshit. That's my damn cargo that's there. And that was no damn benefit. But see, I know damn well that every time you get an insurance, Social Security insurance check, they're claiming that's a benefit, and they're turning around and taxing you because they're claiming that's a benefit to you. Because they're writing bonds out there to give you commercial Federal Reserve dollars. They're not giving you your real cargo out of that vessel. Like I've got over $170-some thousand on the Social Security and Medicaid vessel. But the Social Security checks that I got were not coming from the cargo. They were coming from the damn insurance policy.
They're hypothecating your cargo and making billions.
Yeah, and what we can turn around, most everybody knows how much you've paid in to that Social Security and Medicaid. You can turn around and put a checkmate in, along with a copy of your Social Security card, into this bankruptcy court and say, hey, I'm terminating this vessel, and here's the cargo that I want off that vessel. Now they'll have to shut that whole Social Security account down. I knew all along there had to be a way to get in there to it, but I didn't see it till just recently. Just like my driver's license. I've got about well over $3,900 in silver cargo attached to my driver's license. Because I put up on those traffic tickets appearance bonds. So basically they took that much cargo off of my main vessel and put it onto this little dinghy vessel, state vessel, under the driver's license. They can transfer cargo, but they cannot utilize it. They can only use the Federal Reserve commercial instruments under bondage and insurance. They can't use the real cargo.
So we're terminating the insurance and the vessel, or just the insurance?
We're going to terminate. We're going to bring the vessel into port, okay?
Right.
Okay, then we're going to order that basically, since we have seized this, we're now ordering all the cargo, and it's at port, so now we can offload all the cargo. You can't offload it while you're at sea.
Right.
And we order all the personnel, especially all of our post-orbit personnel, off the vessel. So the vessel can't go back out to sea. Now, if the cargo is off the vessel, the insurance policies, which were written to protect the cargo while it was on the vessel, have to be terminated.
Right.
Okay?
Right. I got it now. Yeah, you said it once or twice tonight. I just, I just like to see the whole flow like that. That's good.
Okay, any other questions out there?
Yes, I have a question.
Okay.
Being as though you spoke about Jack Sparrow.
Speak up a little. Speak up a little.
Can you hear me?
A little more.
Okay. Let me just see if I can better. Okay, so I was speaking about Jack Sparrow and his latest movie, Pirates of the Caribbean. I was told to check out the latest one because there was a part in there where they had the Brethren Court, and they spoke of the 9 pieces of 8. And this was supposed to speak in reference to the master account. Now, this is my first conference call. I just want to qualify myself. I'm a learner myself, so I'm just trying to figure out the direction in which everyone's going in. But all I'm saying is that I checked out this movie, and they spoke on the 9 pieces of 8, and that was supposed to be in reference to the master account number and specifically the number on the back of the social. And I just wanted to get your opinion on that direction.
No. That Social Security number is basically that number on the back of the Social Security card is nothing more than a tracking number for that card, okay?
Okay. Yes, sir.
See, there's been a lot of misinformation that's been put out here.
Okay.
And I've tried to dispel a lot of that information over the last several years in the endeavor, but basically I think people don't like my straightening the facts out. They don't like to hear the truth. They'd rather hear some fictional story.
Right.
So they never get the whole truth.
And that's what I'm here for.
Yeah, and basically we've got our pledged instruments. Okay? That's all we need to have is our pledges.
Okay.
And basically we take those and we liquidate. Those are the vessels that we have. We turn around and liquidate those, get the cargo assets. And in a lot of cases, the main one is that certificate of live birth. We will take that cargo asset, and that will be turned over to us in either gold or silver-backed bearer bonds. We can turn around and take those bearer bonds and then deposit them into the United States of America Admiralty Treasury depository account. See, right now they're being held in a depository account. Okay?
Yes, sir.
Which is not a real secure account. But the depository is a secured account, and basically, I'm not going to tell you where it's at. that it is secured.
Gotcha. Yeah, and I definitely know there's a difference between those words. That's the one thing that I've learned over the years, that these words have different meanings in law, and so that's why it's very important for us to study those words.
But the most of the big information in the Pirates of the Caribbean was all found in that very first movie.
Okay.
Just like a lot of the very key information was in the initial Matrix movie.
Okay.
Patrick?
I always like getting a good reference material.
Mm-hmm.
Patrick?
Thank you.
Yeah.
You mentioned we can get what we paid back out on checks through the B10. Can we also retrieve the payments we made through debit cards or now the online banking submissions where we give them
You
our
put those in against that credit card company.
Okay. But that debit card is against the bank. Okay.
Huh?
The debit card is against the bank, isn't it?
Well, yeah, it would be a debit entry. Okay, you keep your receipt. Okay, when you debit that account, and it's just like a check. You're debiting so much, and they're paying you out in Federal Reserve dollars. That, like on your checks, they see you turn around and allow them to utilize your real value cargo on board the vessel in silver. And you're not getting the proper conversion ratio. And see, the FDIC out here is also a maritime marine insurance policy against that vessel, that banking vessel account. It is supposed to pay any charges, any overdraft charges, anything that harms, that comes in, a hazard that comes in against that vessel. That's what the FDIC insurance is there for. It's a war power, or war insurance. You have to look, when did the FDIC come into play? 1930s. There was another banker's maritime/marine insurance policy.
Mm-hmm.
Writer.
Right. When we make our online purchases, though, we don't get a receipt. That may be why they want them that way, so we don't get a receipt.
You can print out a receipt from that, Tom.
Okay. Very good.
They give you confirmation numbers and stuff.
You guys try and make this so damn complicated. You get receipts for everything you do. You're supposed to. I mean, you go to the gas station and you pay $20 for gas, you better get the damn receipt. Because otherwise you're not going to be able to claim that back.
Mm-hmm.
Be getting gas for that vehicle right now, if you're in commerce, basically, isn't it? It's all covered by the insurance policy. So you have to put your insurance claim into this bankruptcy court to get reimbursed. Just like in the movie, now you see me.
Mm.
The second one place where the Four Horsemen went was down in New Orleans to go after the insurance guy because they've been ripped off by the insurance company. And see, that's what you have to do, is you have to get in there and start going after this damn insurance company. You have to get mad. Then you can start seeing red. And you can start seeing who the real debtor is in the process when you start seeing the red. See, right now you're just looking at black and white. And then black and white, you don't see the debtor, the real debtor, the red. Just like over there in the Far East, basically what do they have? They got the two seas, the Red Sea and then the Dead Sea. I was supposedly trying to tell people there in the Hebrew system about what was going on. In the world of commerce, that they associated them to a land or to a water mass instead, and people lost all sight of what they were really referring to. Now, the Dead Sea is the sea that nobody wants to be near. The Red Sea is the crossover to where you come out and stop being a debtor. It is all a false debt. That was the parting of the sea. It was the parting of the Red Sea. Okay, any other questions?
I'm going to have to go for that one for a while. That's interesting.
Well, when you start to think about all this stuff, Steve, this will all the stuff that I've talked about in the Bible over the years, basically all now comes perfectly clear. I've tried to give the metaphors over the years of all these different parables and everything that are really being used out here, that they're all parables, they're all fictionary.
Right.
Just like in the movie, or the book, Moby Dick. Moby Dick was written in 1851 about a white whale.
Right.
That was the American free man at that point in time, was the white American.
Right.
It was written shortly after they passed the 13th Amendment about slavery in the system, about not slavery, but involuntary servitude.
Right. Well, you're just going to have to start your own church, Patrick.
Fuck the church.
I'm just messing with you. I didn't mean to. I wasn't.
No, you start learning the law, okay?
Right, the law, right.
You stand in admiralty, a house of admiralty, if you want to say something. That's it.
Yeah.
House of admiralty law. But no damn church.
I just wanted to get on the same page. Are you using IRS forms anymore?
No, we don't need them. Okay, this bankruptcy court, they will be the ones to fill out, and see, they're the attorneys that need to fill out all these damn forms. The attorneys, the bar, the insurance adjusters are the ones that need to do the 1099 A, B's, and C's, not us as the master trustee.
Makes sense.
No, we don't need form. We've got form. Because we can kick fucking ass if we want to.
That's right.
but a fiction can't. So they have to give him some form so that he can try and kick ass, like a warrant or something like that. That gives a form so that basically the cops can go out there and try and kick ass on you. But without that form, they can't do shit to you.
You don't have to appoint them in some kind of fiduciary capacity.
You do not appoint them dick shit.
Okay.
Okay? You stand in as the master trustee. You never let them become the trustee. You trust your responsibilities over to them, and they will fuck you in a heartbeat.
Makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like you have a gold coin and you give it to your neighbor. And basically, sooner or later, if you don't show right back up the next day and get it back from him, he's going to rub that gold coin in his pocket, slipper in hell, and basically say, hey, I got this much money. I can go do something with it. He's not going to need it back for another couple of weeks, so I'll get it back, but I'll go out here and use it for now, and then I'll put it back in the pot. Well, he never gets that opportunity to put it back in the pot, and then when you come to see it, it's gone. You never trust anybody. The only trust that is really out here is between us and our bankrupt corporate sole person under this pawn or pledge that he is the pawnee, but he is now post-orbit, and we are the pawnor, and then we can come in and claim that pawn back. But if you don't claim that pawn back, basically right now it's under a pledge or a pawn of 999 years. And see, that's what the church has been doing for all these years. That's what caused the black ages and everything else, is because the people were deprived of their real assets out here.
And see, that's where I'm sorry. That's where I draw this confusion from the people within the usurpatory movement, because they're telling you to give your pledge to the United States for them to take care of everything.
Yeah, but you're supposed to take the responsibility, okay? Yeah, you've got an insurance policy out here, and basically if you want to play that game, you can stay in their system, in the commercial world, but you're going to lose in the end. They will slowly grind you to shit. And they treat you lower than whale shit.
Yeah. Not fit for a king.
Okay?
Yes, sir.
I'll try and get this manifest and this fax deal up tomorrow to Tom so he can post it. And then basically you can study and think about. You've got the one for the DD-214 that I did yesterday for $10,000 that I sent in, but not going to do anything tomorrow because tomorrow's a holiday, so another damn wasted day. But you can go out there and try and get something ready to go in the mail Tuesday. And I will be all over that damn court Tuesday morning by faxing this termination of the vessels and the manifest into that clerk of the court and also to the judge. See, I've got a fax machine that supposedly goes to the judge's area, and then also one that goes to the clerk of the court. And then you start treating them basically as nothing more than a damn insurance adjuster. And if you get harassed by the damn U.S. Marshals about that, say, hey, I've got the damn proof that you are now just protecting a damn insurance agent and basically a public insurance agent out here. I am in admiralty. And when you start utilizing that you are in admiralty, okay, you don't need a driver's license, okay? They will have to supply some identification to you for their protection. Because if you just notify that cop or whatever that you're standing in admiralty, you do not use the word sovereignty. It's admiralty. And that's addressed in the Constitution also. So any court action, see, they don't operate. Maritime is not addressed in the Constitution. That's why in their courts they do not utilize the Constitution, because admiralty is not there. But maritime is. Now, when you put yourself into maritime, you just put them under the rules and regulations of the Constitution. And you have your bills of rights back. But if you operate in maritime, you don't have the protection of the Bill of Rights any longer. Anybody who's got a court case, I mean, basically, like half these people, they're in prison. Basically, they can turn around and put that charge into the bankruptcy court. The charge is not against them, it's against the vessel. And the insurance policy for the vessel is still supposed to take care of all that harm that was caused. Unless you have physically harmed somebody, killed somebody or whatever, that's a completely different scenario. You were already under admiralty law. But if it was a state versus somebody on a child support or something like that, that state marriage license has an insurance policy against it with the state. The state is supposed to pay that child support. But you've got to send it into bankruptcy to that insurance adjuster. You get out on parole. Basically find out what the parole charge is to set off the parole. You turn around and you submit that into the bankruptcy court to the insurance adjuster to settle that parole. But you have to do all this in admiralty. Because the first 5 letters in admiralty are Admir. A-D-M-I-R. And an Amir is a prince. And a prince in America is you. Or a princess. Okay? You are the prince or princess of America. We do not have a king or queen in America, but we do have princes and princesses because we came from the land. can't remember which movie that it was, Pryor or Murphy, Eddie Murphy, I think, in Coming to America.
Coming to America.
To where he was the prince, and basically he had his picture on his money. Well, see, when you get out and you get into Admiralty and you get out of the commercial world, your picture is not going to go on that Federal Reserve dollar, but it will be debt-free Federal Reserve dollars now. They will be under the green seal, not the black seal, on that Federal Reserve dollar. The black seal may still be there, but really the tracking of that dollar, and they track all dollars that are printed for to combat counterfeiting. So, and basically, if it's under the green seal, it has to stay in circulation because it's asset-backed. So if that dollar gets worn down, it has to have a new one with the same number replace it. You'll find that out in basically the movie Mad Money. That the Treasury agents are sitting in the damn Federal Reserve banks going through every dollar to see whether it comes out of circulation or whether it stays in circulation and whether it needs to be replaced. They don't cover the replacement, but basically you got to know that it's there. Okay, any other questions?
Looks like not, Patrick.
Okay.
Thank you for the really clear explanation.
Okay. We'll talk to you guys later. Take care.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Good night.